Good evening, viewers. This is the Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. And I am Mamna Buka. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. The Gambia is currently at the center of Africa's economic policy dialogue as it hosts the 2026 African Caucus in Banjul, bringing together finance ministers, central bank governors, captains of industry and development partners from across the continent to chart a path towards stronger and more inclusive economic growth. The NPP Students' Wing convened a student bantaba with President Adama Barrow, providing a platform for open dialogue between the president and students. The Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, through the Tertiary and Higher Education Trust Fund, over the weekend launched the inaugural National Career Fest at the GCCI National Trade Fair grounds in Brusubi. The Gambian delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, with the support of the General Secretariat of the ECOWAS Parliament, today launched a week-long parliamentary citizen engagement in the Gambia to address the matter of irregular migration. In international news, today, 6th July, is World Rural Development Day, a day dedicated to highlighting the importance of improving the lives and livelihoods of people living in rural communities. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Gambia is currently at the center of Africa's economic policy dialogue as it hosts the 2026 African Caucus in Banjul. Over the next 3 days, finance ministers, central bank governors, captains of industry and development partners from across the continent are meeting to chart a path towards stronger, more inclusive economic growth. The gathering is expected to shape Africa's collective voice ahead of engagements with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group. Lole M. Kamara reports.
Hosting the African Caucus is a significant milestone for the Gambia, placing the country at the heart of continental discussions on economic transformation. Held under the theme, Transforming Africa's Economies Through Investment, Innovation and Inclusion, the conference comes at a time when many African nations are confronting rising debt, limited fiscal space, climate shocks and growing demands for jobs, particularly among the continent's rapidly expanding youth population. Welcoming delegates, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, CDK Mketa, described the forum as an opportunity for Africa to move beyond diagnosing challenges and focusing on practical solutions that unlock investment, strengthen regional cooperation, and accelerate sustainable development.
Our deliberations will focus on two critical and mutually reinforcing priorities, two powerful pillars of transformation. One, unlocking the financing of Africa's future. We must mobilize resources needed to power our ambitions by strengthening domestic revenue systems, deepening our capital markets, and ensuring that businesses, especially our small and medium-sized enterprises, have the financing they need to grow, innovate, create jobs, and boost growth.
The opening ceremony also featured addresses from senior representatives of the World Bank Group, the African Union Commission, and the African Development Bank Group, all underscoring the importance of stronger partnerships and increased financing to support Africa's long-term development ambitions. Delivering the keynote address, the president of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Sidi Ultar, stressed that Africa possesses enormous economic potential but requires greater investment in infrastructure, innovation and value addition to translate its vast natural resources into sustainable prosperity.
Transforming African raw materials on African soil is how we stitch the continental market together and make the FCFTA deliver. 4 paradoxes, 4 cardinal points, 1 direction. An Africa that finances itself, connects itself, and negotiates with the world with one voice.
As he declared the conference opened, President Adama Barrow reaffirmed the Gambia's commitment to regional cooperation and economic reforms.
I think my Honorable Minister Sidi Keita, he is the luckiest Finance Minister 2026. Because bringing all these resources to the Gambia in the same house, governors and finance ministers of Africa, the vice president of the World Bank, the president of the African Development Bank, and looking forward to receiving the richest man in Africa, Aliko Dangote. I think it's a blessing for us, 2026. Sidikeda, congratulations. If all these resources are in the Gambia, with all the challenges, Mr. Keita, the sky is the limit. Looking ahead, I am confident that our collaboration will continue to yield positive results. And surely, working together, we will build a resilient and inclusive Africa that leaves no one behind.
Delegates will deliberate on unlocking financing for Africa's structural transformation, harnessing technology and digital innovation, creating quality jobs through value addition, and ensuring that economic growth reaches women, young people, and vulnerable communities. For the Gambia, hosting the meeting is more than a diplomatic achievement. It provides an opportunity to showcase the country's commitment to sound economic governance while strengthening relationships with development partners and attracting potential investment. As discussions continue over the next 3 days, expectations are high that the forum will produce a unified African position capable of influencing global economic decision-making and advancing the continent's vision for sustainable and inclusive development. For Qtv News, Loliam Kamara.
The NPP Students' Wing convened a student bantaba with President Adama Barrow on Saturday, providing a platform for open dialogue between the president and the students. The engagement allowed students to share their concerns, ask questions, and contribute to discussions on key issues and future prospects. Yafatu Gay has more.
A lively atmosphere welcomed President Adama Barrow as he arrived for the NPP Students' Wing Bantaba in Bundung, which brought together students from across the country for a direct engagement with the president on issues affecting their future. Over 60% of the Gambia's population is under the age of 25, and nearly 2/3 are under 30. However, it is often remarked on that their concerns are never taken on board by politicians. Inspired by the traditional Gambian bantaba, the forum aims to promote open dialogue, accountability and youth participation in governance. Addressing the event, President Barrow responded to concerns raised by students, particularly on matters relating to national security.
Now we have created a levy for the security sector. Every Gambian, whatever you import into this country, there is a levy that is coming. Everybody will contribute to the security because the budget cannot cater for what the security wants in this country. The budget cannot cater for the security sector reform. The budget cannot adequately address what the security needs in this country.
The president also assured participants that his government remains committed to maintaining peace and stability while continuing to strengthen the country's security institutions.
Your security is very important to us. Without security, we cannot develop this country. So that is very important and it's very interesting that today the levy is starting from, I think from this month. You will see the difference as we start to collect the levy.
Beyond security, President Barrow highlighted his government's progress in the education sector, noting ongoing investments aimed at improving access to quality education. He encouraged students to remain focused on their studies, uphold good values, and actively contribute to national development.
I believe that this country cannot develop if we are not peaceful. So, if you are a student, you are NPP, my advice is be patient, be serious, be honest, and commit yourself to working for this country.
The national coordinator of the NPP Students' Wing, Yusuf Tunkara, highlighted the achievements of the organization since its establishment.
We are fully prepared to continue mobilizing students, promoting civil responsibility, advancing political awareness, and defending the development achievement of your administration through constructive engagement, peaceful democratic participation.
Discussions also centered on education, skills development, employment, entrepreneurship, innovation, and youth participation in governance. The engagement ended on a positive note, with both President Barrow and students reaffirming their shared commitment to dialogue, national development, and empowering young people for a more inclusive and prosperous future. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafat Gay.
The Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology through the Tertiary and Higher Education Trust Fund over the weekend launched the inaugural National Career Fest at the GCCI National Trade Fair grounds in Brusubi. Usman Jata tells us more.
Held under the theme Becoming from Education to Limitless Opportunities, the Third Phones Festival aims to prepare young Gambians for the future of work. It links education with skills, innovation, entrepreneurship and employment, significantly inspiring the next generation of leaders.
Sometimes confidence is sending the application regardless, speaking regardless, starting regardless, introducing yourself regardless, trying again regardless, showing up regardless, their fear.
The event brings together government institutions, employers, universities, TVET institutions, development partners and entrepreneurs to help young people explore career and business opportunities. Permanent Secretary at the Higher Education Ministry, Aissatou Oba, and Fund Chairman Mohamed Jah welcomed participants and highlighted the importance of investing in young people.
As a ministry, we recognize that preparing young people for the future requires more than quality education. It also requires strong partnerships, relevant skills, innovation, entrepreneurship, and closer collaboration between our education system and the world of work.
If each one of you have that objective that I want to change the lives of my siblings, the life of my neighbors, the life of my friends, the life of my village, the life of my town, my country, you will do it because I have done it.
As the Gambia invests in human capital, the Career Fest seeks to equip students and graduates with the knowledge and skills needed for an evolving labour market. Founder of Woman Boss, Our Mary Lokan, Trade Minister Mort Kesise, Higher Education Minister Professor Per Gomez, and GRA Commissioner General Yankuba Dabo spoke on workforce readiness, youth empowerment and employment opportunities.
Every young person here represents an idea waiting to be discovered, a leader waiting to emerge, an entrepreneur waiting to solve a problem, an innovator capable of transforming this nation.
Employers increasingly seek individuals who possess practical skill and hands-on experience that is adaptable, resilient, digitally competent, and technologically literate.
Invest in your skills, invest in your character. Do not prepare for jobs that exist today. Never. Prepare yourself for opportunities that will emerge tomorrow.
The purpose of today's Career Fest is simple but profound. It is about helping our young people discover possibilities they may never have imagined. It is about connecting students with universities, TVET institutions, employers, entrepreneurs, innovators, and mentors.
The National Career Fest gives students the opportunity to learn, network and explore future careers in exhibition centers of 6 zones. They include career counseling, career pathways, entrepreneurship and opportunity marketplace, where students connect with institutions, employers and new opportunities. Students Khadijatu Jame, Jermaine Mendy, Astu Janga and Elaine Mendy described the event as inspiring and informative.
I didn't know what to expect when I was coming here. Since when I received the email and I saw 1,300 plus, I thought that was a really huge amount of people. But then it really felt satisfying. It felt like it was really necessary for some of us.
Actually, my first time attending something like this, and I felt like it made me step out of my comfort zone. So I really learned a lot, and I connected with not all, but few people, important people.
I have been given a lot of feedbacks on a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of opportunities that I can grab, which was really good, yeah, because there were internship opportunities there, and I also got to network with other people.
For many young Gambians, the National Career Fest is more than an exhibition. It is a gateway to new opportunities, helping bridge the gap between education and the world of work. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
That report by Osman Jatta will take us on a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and international news stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News and I am Mamna Buka. Now on to the rest of our stories. Every year, thousands of young West Africans risk dangerous journeys in search of better opportunities. For many, that dream ends in exploitation, human trafficking, deportation, or even death at sea. To address the growing challenge, the Gambian delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, with the support of the General Secretariat of the ECOWAS Parliament, today launched a week-long parliamentary citizen engagement in the Gambia. Ali Sise has the details.
Irregular migration is often seen as a pathway to a better life. But many instead become victims of traffickers, smugglers, as they undertake dangerous journeys across the Atlantic and the Sahara. To confront this, the ECOWAS Parliament is convening a parliamentary citizens' engagement on the dangers of irregular migration and modern slavery. It brings together members of ECOWAS Parliament, government institutions, development partners, and other key stakeholders to promote awareness, understand community concerns, and develop practical regional solutions. Billy G. Tunkara is the head of the Gambia's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament and also doubles as the fourth deputy speaker.
The parliament, the community parliament, serve as a vuvuzela for the voices of the community. So therefore, they wouldn't only just sit at the chambers of ECOWAS Parliament at Abuja, they would also try to reach to the grassroots level to have an interaction with our youths who are the vulnerable group.
Unlike traditional parliamentary meetings, the engagement will move into communities across the greater Banjul area, including Bakau, Brikama, and Bara, where lawmakers will interact directly with young people, returnees, and community leaders to better understand factors driving unsafe migration. Miata Lily French, the ECOWAS residents representative, welcomed the initiative as timely and apt.
Migration, whether legal or otherwise, is becoming a problem. In fact, the last ECOWAS Day celebration, it would interest you to note that the ECOWAS Ambassador Solidarity Forum and this mission came together to do a sensitization program on that particular issue and drug use.
Dr. Kabir Gaba, the Director of Parliamentary Affairs and Research at the ECOWAS Parliament, said the engagement demonstrates Parliament's commitment to representing citizens beyond the parliamentary chamber.
We want to be able to strengthen dialogue and collaboration between members of parliament on the one hand and those who are stakeholders in trying to address these menace.
Presenting the migration outlook, Assistant Superintendent of Migration Alkali Jame reported that irregular migration remains persistently high during the first half of 2026.
It sits at a geographical location very close to the Canaries, and when the waves are smooth, it takes between 7 to 8 days for them to reach the Canaries. Therefore, countries like Guinea, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, and so on and so forth will prefer to travel to the Gambia and also pay smugglers.
Mamadou Drame of the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons also raised concern over evolving forms of exploitation.
We've seen that now these traffickers are now using the internet, right, to be able to exploit or also to law on vulnerable populations.
George Job of the International Organization for Migration Gambia office says the Gambia is increasingly becoming a transit hub along the West African Atlantic route with more women and children now undertaking dangerous sea crossing in overcrowded boats.
In some cases, migrants are left at sea for 4 to 5 days because of weather conditions, technical problems, or security presence.
Alhaji Jaju, the executive director of the National Youth Council, said misinformation, peer pressure continue to fuel irregular migration.
Despite the difficult conditions they are in, they continue to use social media, very nice pictures, standing in very beautiful buildings and sending pictures home. But you go meet them on the ground, the reality is different.
The recommendations from the Gambia and a second engagement in Senegal are expected to strengthen parliamentary advocacy and regional policies aimed at promoting safe migration, protecting vulnerable people, and combating trafficking and modern slavery across the sub-region. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Coming up next is international news. Today, 6th July, marks World Rural Development Day, a day dedicated to highlighting the importance of improving the lives and livelihoods of people living in rural communities. Babukar Sisse's report is narrated by Jul Denjai.
Communities remain the backbone of agriculture and food systems, producing much of the food consumed globally. Yet, millions of rural residents continue to face persistent challenges, including poverty, limited access to quality healthcare and education, inadequate infrastructure, unreliable electricity, poor road networks, and the growing impacts of climate change. Despite significant progress in recent decades, rural areas in many developing countries continue to lag behind urban centers in terms of access to essential services and economic opportunities. Bridging this rural-urban divide has become increasingly important as countries work towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly the goals relating to poverty eradication, zero hunger, decent work, and reduced inequalities. In Africa, rural development remains central to the continent's socio-economic transformation. More than half of Africa's population lives in rural areas, with agriculture serving as the primary source of income and employment for millions of households. However, African farmers continue to grapple with declining soil fertility, climate-related shocks, limited access to finance, modern farming technologies, and profitable markets. Rural communities play a vital role in the Gambia's economy and national development. Agriculture remains one of the country's key economic sectors, providing employment and livelihoods for a large proportion of the population, particularly in rural areas. Farmers, livestock keepers, fisherfolk, and horticultural producers contribute significantly to food production and household incomes. The Gambia's rural economy is driven by the cultivation of crops such as groundnuts, rice, maize, millet, and vegetables, while women play a leading role in horticulture through community gardens across the country. Livestock production and artisanal fishing also provide income and nutrition for many rural households. In recent years, the government of the Gambia, with support from development partners, has invested in programs aimed at improving agricultural productivity, food security, and rural livelihoods. These initiatives include the provision of improved seeds and farming equipment, expansion of rural routes, support for women's gardening projects, promotion of climate-smart agriculture to help communities adapt to changing weather patterns, as well as investments in rural electrification, clean water supply, healthcare, and education. As the world marks World Rural Development Day, it is important to recognize that expanding access to markets, as well as quality education, healthcare, infrastructure, clean water, modern agricultural practices, and financial services can unlock the full potential of rural populations, fostering more inclusive, resilient, and prosperous societies for generations to come. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jul Denjai.
That report brings us to the end of this bulletin, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. The Gambia is currently at the center of Africa's economic policy dialogue as it hosts the 2026 African Caucus in Banjul, bringing together finance ministers, central bank governors, captains of industry and development partners from across the continent to chart a path towards stronger and more inclusive economic growth. The NPP Students' Wing convened a student bantaba with President Adama Barrow, providing a platform for open dialogue between the president and students. The Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, through the Tertiary and Higher Education Trust Fund, over the weekend launched the inaugural National Career Fest at the GCCI National Trade Fair grounds in Brusubi. The Gambian delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, with the support of the General Secretariat of the ECOWAS Parliament, today launched a week-long parliamentary citizen engagement in the Gambia to address the matter of irregular migration. In international news, today, 6th July, marks World Rural Development Day, a day dedicated to highlighting the importance of improving the lives and livelihoods of people living in rural communities. That's all we have for this bulletin. Join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. for another bulletin. Thank you for watching.